Mick, you went to wrestling school, and at the core, your beginning was with Dominic DeNucci, correct?
Right.
Now, in this school of professional wrestling, two questions. How long was the wrestling school, and did you learn how to take a chair shot?
I'll answer no.
Two questions.
All right, yeah. I'll answer the second one first. No. There was never like a chair shot class.
Okay, then we'll skip the rest of the wrestling. Talk about a chair shot, because all of a sudden there I was in Dallas, Texas, soon to go down to Tennessee, and I'm forced to use a steel chair because as an angle ensues or progresses, you get in your first angle, inevitably a chair will come into your hands or onto your head. But the steel chair.
You know, in Dallas, they had that one clunky steel chair. Like, no one even thought, hey, why don't we go to a department store and buy steel chairs? Even when I remember wrestling Sting at Beach Blast, and part of the reason we did well is because I went and searched the arena and found a steel chair. Sid had a match earlier on. They went to use a chair, and they had that horrible cushion chair with the hinges that looks awful.
Yeah.
It doesn't
because
sound
it looks to the crowd like, first of all, those chairs are heavy. They hurt your vertebral structure. Yeah. But to the crowd, because they have a pad on them, that doesn't hurt all of a sudden. Yeah. So then you have to go to the core steel chair.
Exactly. And the one we had in Dallas was awkward, had rust all over it.
Piece of shit.
And one of the first times I took a chair, I broke my thumb, putting my hand up. And the lesson I took from that was my head was harder than my thumb. Wrong lesson. Yeah. But also keep in mind that at that time, you were working a gimmick, and you were working a character. And I had an act, and when I say he was on me, I meant in a good way. He would come to me and, Jack, you work so hard. Yeah, he goes, but you're so nice to the fans. Like that was my weakness when you're in a territory every week, every Friday, Saturday. Yeah. People get that feel. It's part of what I talk about during my current show. I love the current shows. I try to figure out ways every night to make it better, but I talk about that almost like collective realization, after a certain point, where you'd see all the wild moves, and I had the eyes, which always put a question mark in people's minds, but it would be like about that 6-month mark. If you'd watched for 6 months steadily, and then I'd come down with that elbow, I'd look up at that camera, it was almost like you could feel people going, oh, he's a nice guy.
I thought you was crazy.
What? And
as a compliment.
And I was helped in WWE, the mask,
right,
which I only recently came to find out through Bruce Pritchard was really just Vince's way of hiring me while covering up my face.
Really?
It was not meant as a deep psychological ploy. It was just JR waging a steady campaign on my behalf, and finally Vince slamming his hand down at a meeting going, all right, damn it, I'll bring him in. I'm covering up his face.
Is that a shoot?
That would have stung a little bit had I known that.
When you cut off that beard and all the bullshit, you're a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a former travel partner, great friend. Here I am, straight as now. You're a good-looking dude.
I was not a bad-looking guy, and I had to do a lot with smoke and mirrors. But that goes back to creating that image. In the Sportatorium, you would go up, you'd have Bill Koval, and Big Mike, Cowboy Bill, walking you up that really protective rope that would keep you from the fans. It was like
that rope. It was big around as this cord that goes to my Mac laptop computer, and that rope, the barrier said to the people, "Do not cross." It was the most horseshit, unsafe environment in the history of the wrestling business. But it was great. It worked for the Sportatorium.
It worked for the Sportatorium. You look back at all the missed opportunities, nobody taking a guardrail. You couldn't shoot somebody into the rope. A little white clothesline.
Take me into the guard rope.
But I would walk up after Bill would lead me in. There'd be like that 20-foot walk from the aisle to the dressing room. And to the day it was torn down, there was a section that was almost completely dented because when I would come back from my matches, you'd have 10 or 12 people looking at you. I would slam my head 5-6 times in there because the idea was those 10 people would tell 10 other people. Yeah. And sometimes, I knew where the beams were. At least I thought I would. I'd avoid the beams. Yeah. Usually I missed them.
Right.
Sometimes I wouldn't.
Right.
Looking back now in 97 when my back really seized up on me and I was really struggling but needed to give people what I thought they deserved as far as a physical match was concerned.
Right.
Like I was, okay, I can't take the bumps that I'm known for. How do I create the illusion, of wildness?
And this was in WWF.
This is
correct?
WWF.
Yeah.
I'm working
but
with,
let's go back to World Class Championship Wrestling, because you broke into the business in what year?
I broke in 85.
85. By the time you got down to World Class, you might have been there before, but I remember paying ticket to see you wrestle.
Thank you.
There I was, and then I was in Chris Adams' school.
Yes.
Nest.
This is another statement of where my head was at the time.